Hi, we're Richard and Jackie from Early Retirement Wanderlust.
It's actually just about 2 years since we early retired, and in today's video we just wanted to chat with you and share a little bit about how we think early retirement has had an impact on our relationship.
So as we said, we have been early retired for 2 years now, and during that time we have been creating YouTube videos on our journey through early retirement. And one of the common questions that we get asked so many times, and to be fair, we've probably avoided it, is how has early retirement affected our relationships? So what we want to do in this video is to just go through a number of key areas that we've sort of brainstormed and chat through with you how we think it's affected us in our early retirement.
By far, one of the most common questions that we get asked is, how have you gone from working in pretty full-on careers where you don't see each other very much midweek to spending 24 hours a day together? And it is a big transition, and it's something that makes a lot of people think twice about early retirement.
And over the last 2 years, we've definitely got to know each other so much better. And you get to know parts of your partner's life that you didn't really know about. So I think Jackie always knew that I was a driven person at work, but never really realised how driven I was until I brought an element of that home. And perhaps one of the things I was unaware of was what Jackie got up to on her days off.
Yeah, Richard's suddenly gone from working in a school where he was line managing a staff of maybe up to 200 people to line managing just me. And sometimes I do feel that pressure that he has lots of expectations and tries to push me to do things, but I'm quite stubborn and I just do what I want.
And I think what we're doing, though, is we are bringing ourselves closer to the middle. So we're probably moderating each other a little bit more. So Jackie is definitely chilling me out and, you know, reminding me of why we're retired and that I don't need to be that driven. And perhaps I'm just giving Jackie a little bit more focus, but we'll see how we go on that.
And as much as it's a big concern for a lot of couples spending all of that time together, actually for us at the moment, it really hasn't been an issue. We've never been a couple that bicker or argue. I think in 30 odd years, we've been married 30 years next year, I don't think we've ever had a blazing row. We sometimes sulk with each other, probably less so since we've retired because we're not as stressed and we're not as worried and thinking about other things. We just get on really well.
And you just find a way, because even though we are together 24/7, we find that we're able to find our own space. So within the house, Jackie will sometimes take herself off upstairs and watch a load of rubbish on the laptop. And then when we're in the van, interestingly, it's a tiny van, but Jackie tends to have the bed area and I tend to have the seating area at the front. And, you know, even though we're in the same space, we've actually got our own space. So it's not quite as imposing as it seems. Naturally, as we spend more time together, we've got to get better at communicating and making sure that we don't have misunderstandings. We don't have that bailout anymore of just being able to go to work and think it through. And what we don't want to do is to sort of let things fester. So we are pretty open people with each other, but there's a definite need when you step into early retirement to make sure that you are both open to communicating and sharing your ideas, sharing your vision, and just being open about what you want from early retirement.
I've realised there's no use sulking if I don't get my own way. I just have to sort of listen to Richard's point of view, and we do come to a happy medium somewhere along the line. I think one of the reasons that for us we have had such a successful early retirement at the moment is that we very clearly have the same shared goals and visions of what we want from our future. At the moment, and probably for the next few years, travel is really important to us, and we've got these shared goals of where we would like to go, and we just want to find out more about the world, and we're loving doing that together. There are couples that we know through comments on our YouTube channel and actually from some of our friends where that vision isn't quite shared, and that must be really hard when one person's just got this thirst to get out and about and do things and the other person doesn't share that vision. So I think we're quite lucky that for now that's a bonus to us. We've both got that shared vision.
And one of the things we've tried to do is to have some projects that we can work on together that perhaps put us both a little bit outside our comfort zone. So it started with, prior to early retirement, we launched our website and we sort of enjoyed contributing to that and putting our photos up on that. And then it extended into where we are now in terms of our house renovation project. And then probably the ultimate early retirement sort of bonding experience has been this YouTube thing, because we're both completely outside our comfort zone and yet we've worked at it together.
Yeah, and actually we've got to the point now where we do really enjoy thinking about what we're going to film and what we'd like to share with you. And the more people see about our early retirement journey, the more confident we get that people actually are interested in how it works for us, so that maybe you could make it work for yourselves.
A really clear challenge in early retirement is to try and balance the need for our own individual independence and also that need for togetherness. And I think that's quite difficult, particularly when we have been on the road and we travel so much and so extensively together.
And we do know that we spend probably a disproportionate amount of time together. We are pretty much together 24/7 at the moment. And we know that in the future that will probably change as we get older and we settle more into our life in the Yorkshire Dales. I do anticipate that we will join different, perhaps U3A groups and different clubs. We do have different interests. But for the moment and in the present, we're just enjoying being together and getting out and travelling. So it's not something that bothers us.
But it is something we are acutely aware of, and we set out at the start of this year to try and have some of our own interests. So you'll be aware that I went and did the Dales Way. So I was toiling for 5 or 6 days in the hills, wild camping, while Jackie was...
I'll have you know, I was quite busy. I actually walked from Settle all the way to Horton in Ribblesdale and set myself my own little challenges. But actually, I enjoyed some time to myself, which is not something we get very often. So we have learnt from that, just even if it's just an hour or two, to build that bit of time to ourselves. Richard might go out cycling, or I might just go out for a walk locally on our own, just for that little bit of headspace.
Yeah, and it's really good for the soul. So yeah, no guilt about that, but something that's you've got to be mindful that's ever changing as early retirement develops.
It's a little bit tricky when we're on the road, when we're actually travelling in the VW campervan, because it's so tiny, you don't get your own space. And actually we do everything together. But even then, when we were in Slovenia, you went off and did the Frizik Pass cycle on your own, because I was refusing to. It's got 23 hairpin bends and there's no way I was going up it. But we did build in time.
And I was just going absolutely stir crazy because it'd been chucking it down for 2 days and I didn't care whether it was raining or not. I was getting out on the bike. But that's it. And it works for us and we can talk about it tongue in cheek, but yeah, it's a real consideration. I think one of the things that we can all get perhaps a little bit too hung up on when we are stepping into early retirement is how our roles and how our identity is going to change from being in the workplace to then being together at home and having all of that free time. For me, I've always been a planner and I've enjoyed the devil of the detail. And for Jackie, she's always been the creative one and coming up with new ideas and creative ideas.
Yep, Richard's planning works great when we are wanting to go away on trips. He will be the one that gets all organised and books the ferries and wants the details of what we're going to do. I'm the one that sits there saying, well, I'm not booking anywhere because I don't want to be stuck to a schedule. I want to sort of live for the moment, and if we change our mind, we can do what we want. So it does work quite well. We do know where we're going because Richard's planned it, but we don't know what we're doing because we need that freedom. That's just one example of how we complement each other in that way.
Yeah, and it's really interesting how roles can also flip, because when I was at work, I was a complete data monkey and I loved the stats and I was always into performance stats and things like that. And Jackie had absolutely no interest in that. Whereas now...
Yeah, at school I was probably known as the person that really didn't get all of the data stuff, and I didn't want to sit crunching numbers. But I do really like the YouTube data that comes through. It's something that sort of keeps me motivated, I suppose.
And yeah, I think you're underselling yourself there. Jackie knows that data inside out and back to front and briefs me regularly on it. And interestingly, I have no interest in that now. And I don't know why that's happened, but it's an interesting change of roles and something that you've got to really sort of expect to come out of your early retirement as you grow and develop.
Something that we were really loving about our early retirement is having that time to just rediscover each other as individuals. We met each other in 1989 at university, and we have been best friends ever since the first day we met. At university, we had all the time in the world together. We were on the same course. We spent 24/7 together then. And then we went our separate ways into working life, which was great for the next 25, 30 years. But this time now is just amazing to just remember why we loved each other.
Yeah, the fact that we can just get away together, we can go on adventures together, that time that we've now got, we're just forever grateful of that. And it's not something to be scared of, it's something to embrace, it's something to be really grateful for, and just to get excited about again, because it is really good fun. One of the benefits of our relationship is that we can definitely face challenges together. The main things that led us into early retirement and the decision to retire early was just an entirely traumatic and devastating 2021 when I lost my dad and then I lost my brother in pretty quick succession. And without us being able to be together, I don't really know how would I have coped, because Jackie was my rock. And through those really difficult times, we've just got much stronger in terms of our relationship together. And, you know, we faced challenges in our early retirement. So when we first bought the house, that was quite challenging.
Yeah, we were homeless for 14 weeks. Richard called it houseless, not homeless, but we decided that to break the chain, we would move out of our old house in Cheshire so that the sale definitely went through. And then we lived in our VW campervan for 14 weeks. Richard said it was a challenge. I loved it.
But I think when we were at work, we used to talk about our work together and support each other in quite a sort of distanced way, because we never had the opportunity to work together. Whereas now we're together and we're working on projects, those problems and those challenges that come up are very definitely shared challenges. And, you know, there is an old adage that, you know, a problem shared is a problem halved. And that is really, really true. So again, it's something to sort of be aware of, that challenges don't just disappear when you go into early retirement. The challenges just change.
We are really excited. Touch wood, we have got at least a few decades ahead of us where we have the ultimate freedom to plan and do whatever we choose. We're not answerable to people. We're the masters of our own destiny. We can decide what we want to do. And it's really exciting. Whenever we're out on our hikes, we will chat away about all the things that we want to do, things we want to achieve, places we want to see. And it's just such an exciting prospect. And it's exciting that we've got that time together to do that.
And keeping track of all of that is like a real challenge. We jest on the channel, but it's really true that the more you think about your bucket list, the bigger the bucket list gets. We've talked a lot on this channel about the importance to us for health and well-being. And rather than it being a bolt-on when we were working and it was something extra we did to work, now our health and wellness is an absolute central pillar in what we do each and every day.
So we both have a love and a passion to get out and about, hiking and exploring the countryside around us, no matter where we are, whether we're in the van or whether we're at home in the Dales. We both set ourselves challenges, physical challenges. Richard got out in the Dales doing the Dales Way.
And Jackie sets us regular physical challenges in terms of the 50-50-50.
Yeah, if you haven't seen the last video, I decided when we got back from the Shetland Islands that we needed to actually start doing a little bit more than just hiking. So at the moment we're doing the 50-50 challenge, which Richard laughed about, which is 50 sit-ups, 50 push-ups and 50 air squats every single day before we go on our next beach holiday.
But it's the fact that we can do these things together. And when you do things together, there's an element of accountability. So I'm pretty good. For example, my 50-50-50 is normally done by 9 o'clock in the morning. Jackie's not so good, or she does it in her own way, because I think it was the other night she was doing it maybe 10 o'clock before going to bed.
But at least I did it. I didn't just say, oh no, it's too late, I'm not doing it.
So as a couple, you get the chance to work together on your health and well-being, but also an element of keeping each other to account, which is also lovely.
And enjoying what we do because we're doing it together, possibly.
So that's it. We try to keep things really, really simple. And if we were going to offer anyone advice, which to be honest, we are reluctant to offer advice because early retirement is an entirely personal decision. But what we would say is just a great starting point is to be able to talk openly about what your plans are, and then to actually have a plan and have a backup plan and a backup plan for that, because things don't always turn out how you'd like them to turn out.
For us, I think we are really lucky, and I think we genuinely are really lucky that we are really good friends and always have been. So spending lots of time together isn't a trial, it's actually a pleasure. We know some couples that have gone into retirement gradually and they are working part-time so that they can actually get used to spending time together and know whether they would like it or not. And I don't think that's a bad starting point if you're wanting to test the grounds first.
And then probably the other pertinent thing we'd say would be to not really worry about how other people view it, because the only important thing is how, as a couple, you view your early retirement. And as we said before, early retirement is an entirely personal decision, and it's going to be different for everyone. And that's just fine, because that's what makes the world the world. So that's it from us. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and we will see you soon. Bye.
Bye.